and welcome to a Sunday Week 14 slate fantasy happy hour, joined by special guest Conor Deane, beast of the East, because he's the only one I know out there.
Northeast states.
There we go. Exciting Week 14. Things are heating up. 3 or 4 weeks left. 3 weeks left, I think. 14, 15, 16, 17. 4 weeks left. Let's go. My playoff hopes were dwindled after a fumbled snap at like the 5-yard line, so that was very disappointing. But diving right into it this week, Tarin, what are you thinking for some QB action on the Sunday slate?
I was trying to hunt here for somebody that I thought would be a little lower owned, and I tried to pick a game that I expect to kind of shoot out a little bit, and I picked Matt Stafford. New coach, new offense out there. He throws for 405 and 3 touchdowns, and it seems like he's throwing with some air in the ball finally and not just running Adrian Peterson into the line. But Adrian Peterson's also starting to fire up here with Swift out. But I think Stafford's a great pick against the Packers. The Packers' tendency is to get a lead early and then choke that lead basically to a 1-touchdown game. So you're going to always see volume out of the opposing quarterback. And that's what I think. And then the Marvin Jones, Hawkinson are his stacking options. Watch Golladay if he's hurt. And then I think this will just be high scoring. You can get a lot of work out of Matt Stafford to throw for another 350 and a couple touchdowns there. But Connor, quarterback of the week, what do you got?
So I'm going to go completely opposite of you here. I'm not going to take the value pick, but I'm going to take the other quarterback in that game and go Aaron Rodgers. I think Detroit's secondary is one of the worst in the league, and you've got an MVP candidate on the other side with a ton of weapons. It's just kind of hard to pass up. You could stack him with Adams and try and find value in other positions, and I think Rodgers and Adams are just going to eat up the Lions secondary. As bad as my Eagles are, their secondary has been getting better in recent weeks, and Adams just had Slay all over him and still put up numbers. So I mean, going against a weaker secondary in the Lions, he should have just as big a day, if not bigger. So I think A-Rod and Devontae Adams stack would kind of where I head there.
Nice. I'm just picking this pick simply off the fact that they were embarrassed, and I'm going with Herbert. You get shut out like that, you have to almost bounce back. So I'm willing to put down that they at least have a good game, and I'm just hoping that Herbert maybe fires off 30 points for you. I could regret that because we might see them go on a little bit of a slump here and a stinker. There might be no morale. Might be different than hockey. But yeah, that's where I'm going. And transitioning to my running game here, kind of surprising, but not really because they don't have a quarterback. I'm going with James Robinson. They're playing the Titans, so divisional matchup here this weekend. Mike Glennon. I mean, I'm just assuming they're giving it to Robinson as much as possible. So that'll be the solid pick. Diener, what do you got for running back here?
I think my running back, and like I said, based on my quarterback selection, I got to find a little bit of value. So I think David Montgomery is a good guy. He's been hot recently. Tariq Cohen's out. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and sorry, Bear, but the Texans' run defense is pretty bad overall. So I think that's a guy that you could pick up some points with. That's not going to cost you as much as some of the other options out there.
He's got to be the luckiest play of the last 2 weeks. He gets Detroit's run defense, and then Houston's. I think they're 31 and 32 in DVOA. So David Montgomery's just freebie for the last 2 weeks. And then Mike Glennon is throwing the ball a ton. He even said it, Justin. So you got to let him. He said he's almost in retirement, so he's just going to air it out. So he's been just chucking the ball a ton. But my running back's actually going against my own team, and that's Ronald Jones, the third. Coach Arians said he thinks this guy should be a 20-touch guy in every game. I mean, Arians talks a lot and throws his own quarterback under the bus. So, I mean, you don't take it with a grain of salt. But I think he's seeing 10 to 15 touches per game. He's got a touchdown. And I think last game it was through the air. And I always expect scoring in Minnesota games. They gave up 24 to Jacksonville last week. Their D has been looking better, but not great. Still, they got to get into shootouts to win a game. And I think he'll be low owned in that price range because David Montgomery will actually pick up all the ownership with his big green button against Houston. But now I'll drop it down to wide receiver, and of course we don't get to see this guy play before we're recording here on Monday. But Amari Cooper is my take at 6,500. I think at Cincinnati, I think Amari's become Dalton's favorite play or favorite receiver in the passing game. 7 to 10 targets every time Dalton's been playing. And I think he got that bomb on Thanksgiving. I think I've learned that Thanksgiving slates, you play Will Fuller and you play Amari Cooper every year because it's their day every year for some reason, 2 touchdowns or a touchdown. But this game should suck. So trying to find some value out of it is what you got to do. But what are you thinking of wide receiver, Connor?
So like I said, my first option would be to stack Adams with Rodgers because I think they're just going to light up the Lions secondary. But I'm going to kind of follow Justin's lead in a redemption theme. I think Keenan Allen and Air Bear should redeem themselves a little bit against the Falcons secondary. Falcons secondary isn't great either. And I mean, Herbert and Allen have been a good connection almost all year since Herbert came back in. So I would expect last week to be more of an aberration than it was the rule. So I would lean on Keenan Allen, and just to sneak it in because I want to make up for slandering the Texans earlier. Another value pick I think that you could find in the Texans game is Kiki Cutie, who he was kind of the second option behind Brandon Cooks, but I think he put up like 24 fantasy points last week. Like he had a good day, and he's not going to cost you much at all. So he might be a good option if you got to, like I said, cut corners other places if you're going to lean on some big value picks.
Well, that's a great transition, Connor, because my pick this week for the first time ever in FHH back-to-back Kiki QT. What a pick last week. Dirt cheap. And what did I tell you? 25.1 fantasy points, no TDs even, 8 receptions, 141 yards. Great pick. Pat myself on the back for that one. That was a great play no matter what. Very affordable. Obviously, he's going to go up this week to what? I don't know, probably 3,500. I still see it as a value pick. Deshaun Watson has literally him and Brandon Cooks. They did give it to David Johnson a little bit more to run it, but that doesn't work out very well. But yeah, going back, moving on to a tight end here. I'm going Logan Thomas. Average price for a tight end, putting up 15 to 25 points week after week as a tight end, especially now that the Washington football team's kind of heating up even more and more. But yeah, I'm liking him as my pick this week. Shooting it back to you, Connor. What do you like for tight end?
I think for tight end, I got to go with Gronk. Just trying to find the bad secondaries this week, and Minnesota's, I'm sorry, Tarin, but Minnesota's secondary isn't a strong suit. And it just seems like the old Patriot connection is revitalizing itself in recent weeks. And Gronk, I think he's become Brady's favorite target. He's put up good points in the last like 5 or 6 weeks here. So I think he's a good pick at tight end.
I think a Brady stack could be valuable this week if you wanted to go there. I think that game could be a really good spot to target passing games because the run defenses are both pretty good. At least they've been showing it. Kiki QT is 5K, just so you guys know. I thought I'd mention that as an update. The pricing is up, but yeah, I wanted to check how big of a jump he got. And then, but I'll jump back to tight end, and I'm actually looking in Jacksonville. I watched most of that game because, of course, they were playing the Vikings last week. But Glennon loved his tight ends. Between O'Shaughnessy and Eifert, it was 12 targets combined. Both of them went. Eifert went 6 for 45, and then O'Shaughnessy 4 for 41. And then, of course, they're playing Tennessee. And actually, I was going to mention this earlier to Justin's pick of James Robinson, but Tennessee's been like a pass funnel, like a really bad pass funnel this year, giving up a ton of yardage through the air. So I think you can target either of these guys, and they're dirt cheap. I'm talking 3,500 for Eifert, 2,500 for O'Shaughnessy. So you're going to get a cheap price, and that's always where I like to live at tight end, although Waller made us disprove that theory last week with his 200-yard game. But he is on this slate, but I don't like him as much as apparently I should. But yeah, jump into defense, and my favorite defense all season, and I'm finally gonna go back to them, is the Giants. This defense came out of nowhere. Like that team shouldn't. Well, they didn't seem like they'd be good in that division, and their defense is playing awesome. They look quick. I don't know. When I was watching the one game, they were talking about a few of the linebackers and a few of the defensive ends that were young guys out of college, and they're just quick. Seem to be getting to the quarterback awfully fast, and they're averaging, I think, 7.4 DK points, which is one of the highest for defenses on the season. 2 or more sacks in almost every game. And I guess they get, who do they play this week? I had it, but I didn't write it down.
The Cardinals, I think.
Cardinals, yeah. And they tend to be susceptible to giving up a lot of sacks to Kyler Murray. So I like that pick. But Connor, who's going to dominate on D?
So I'm going to put on my pessimistic Eagles fan hat and tell everyone to pick the Saints, because the Eagles offense is in shambles right now. And there is a quarterback controversy brewing in Philadelphia, which never breeds good results. And either way, it turns out if Wentz starts, I believe he had 79 yards in total before he got yanked last week against the Packers. And Hurts came in and he did well, but I mean, it was in against a prevent defense, kind of in garbage time there. So if he does start, it's going to be his first start in the NFL, which again doesn't breed good results. So I would say pick the Saints, and good things will happen.
Again, Connor, we have the same hat on because I was going with the Saints as well. 3 sacks last week and a fumble recovery, 6 points. If only they didn't get, I don't know what I was going to say, but
I was like waiting for it.
They're playing the Falcons, is it?
Yeah. So anyways, piggybacking off Connor there. Yeah. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
Hungry dogs run faster.
There you go.
But yeah, anyone else have anything else they want to add in? Any last picks or anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to chime in while we have Conor Deane on the line?
I mean, yeah, I guess running back. Oh, you can go ahead, Tarin, if you're.
No, I was going to ask you what your favorite game was of the week.
Oh, this past week?
No, like coming up. Where do you like to target if you were to target a high-scoring game?
I mean, the targets, I think we both touched on them already, but they'd be that Green Bay Detroit game or the Minnesota Tampa Bay game. I mean, Tampa Bay's got a good defense, but Minnesota's got a really good offense too. So I think that could even itself out. But I think both those games are primed to be high scoring. And the one sleeper I did have for running back would be Myles Gaskin. He just came back last week for the Dolphins. The Chiefs defense, their run defense isn't great. And the Dolphins defense, I mean, they're going up against the Chiefs, so it could get away from them. But if the Dolphins can manage to keep it close, then I think they're going to feed Gaskin the ball pretty regularly. So he could be a guy, again, coming off injury. He might be a little lower price, so you could cut a corner with.
I think maybe going to a Mahomes, Kelsey, Waller stack too, even though they're not playing each other, but double tight ending those two. Those two are like receivers. And they get Miami. I hate fading Mahomes ever. So go to him, but go to Kelsey because the outside guys in Miami have been really good. So although Tyree can break that, but don't sleep on Mahomes ever. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Appreciate Connor, you joining us. Hopefully people stick around and they watch when this one's done, the final of the trilogy here for the Monday Nighter. But yeah, if you like this, give it a comment or a like. Let me know how much of a bonehead I sounded like in that special teams part. And yeah, thanks for watching.